One of advantage.
Ladies and gentlemen, colleagues and friends, this is Puji Pujono again from the Rumah Resiliensi Indonesia, being held in conjunction with the Global Platform for Disaster Risk Reduction, the 7th session, held in Bali, Indonesia, 2022. We are really privileged, and I am personally very happy to have my dear colleague here, Ms. Mutmainah Korona. She is a very unique individual. She's a woman. She is a member of the local parliament, and she is from Central Sulawesi, the hotbed of disaster that hit Indonesia a couple years back. Greetings, Ibu Mutmainah Korona. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
All right. So I'm very happy to have you here in this Rumah Resiliensi. Now, what I would like to do is first to get you to introduce yourself to our audience,
Yes.
who you are and what you do.
Okay, I'm Mutmainah Korona. So I'm from Palu City. I'm member of Parliament, one of leader women in Parliament in Palu City, and also I members initiative disaster risk reduction in Palu City Forum.
Right.
Yes.
Now, just on that, just for the benefit of our audience, what happened in Central Sulawesi? What kind of disaster that happened?
Yes, in Palu City is one of city have phenomena either earthquake here in the 28 September.
2018, sir?
Yeah, 20 September 2018. This we have one. Three moments either earthquake, for example, liquefaction, tsunami, and then don't leave, and I think it's like a rare world's fault, and then supercharged situation in the world. Palu is one of have a big problem there after earthquake.
So the Central Sulawesi disaster is one of the most complex disaster.
Yes.
Not only there are many hazards, earthquake, tsunami, liquefaction, and so on, but also it's very complex because at the time the government decided to limit the presence of international workers, and then now it depends on local government and local agencies and national government to deal with it. Right? So could you tell us, after the disaster, what were the lessons that you learned as a member of the parliament with regard to disaster response? What are the most important lessons that you gained?
I think as government is very important to know more about the how the earthquake after, especially for rehabilitation reconstruction phase, and then because we have many problems there. For example, still people to stay in the shelter.
Not everyone could be accommodated in the new housing, right?
Yeah, rebuilding infrastructure, public infrastructure, and then economic, for example, livelihood, and then governments in parliament we have like task force for to watch how to implementation rehabilitation reconstruction in the Palu City.
In Palu City.
Yes.
You are a member of the parliament of the Palu City, which is the heart of the disaster itself. Now,
I'm one of a woman there.
One of the women leader in the parliament, which is very very interesting actually.
Now, thank you.
In the after disaster situation, there are a lot of humanitarian workers, right, who try to help. But that's probably only a small part of the work. The many part of the work will be undertaken by the government. Right? And some of those cannot be solved simply by building houses. There are some changes in the policies that's required and the regulations. Right? So in the parliament of the Palu City, what kind of regulation initiative that you push right
yeah,
now?
I still to my position right now is I hit off initiative local regulation in the one of part in the parliament, and then
So you are the chairperson
Yeah.
of the House Committee,
yes, and the
local
House-
House Committee,
Yeah.
to develop a local
Yeah,
regulations,
local
legislation,
regulation,
Okay.
yeah.
And what is that local regulation about?
Still to initiation to
And it's an initiative of the
for
House.
the our friend there.
Okay.
That's about the I think about the our infrastructure still to rebuilding, and then many budget
Yeah.
to push after infrastructure has broken
Okay.
in the Palu city. So I just wanna if Palu city rebuilding and many public infrastructures, no shelters,
Bridges, roads,
bridges,
buildings,
roads,
yeah.
hospitals,
schools.
education, yes, schools, something like that. I just wonder if women and disability persons, and then to base on mitigation,
Okay.
disaster mitigation, have to input in the rebuilding governments.
All right.
That's why I wanna one local regulation
Okay.
to make sure have many public infrastructures,
Okay.
facilities infrastructure, and many infrastructure,
Yep.
etc. To how to make sure disaster mitigation, but
Be
to
incorporated,
perspective for the gender perspective,
Okay.
and the inclusivity.
This is very important, and I think it's very interesting that local parliament, Ibu Mutmainah Korona, look at the rehabilitation and reconstruction of the public infrastructure, right?
Yeah.
Which is huge undertaking.
Yeah,
You want to make sure that there will be local regulation
yeah,
for reconstruction
Yeah.
and rehabilitation.
Yeah.
But not only that, this regulation must be
Yeah.
based on mitigation.
yes.
And number two,
Mitigation.
that it must be inclusive of
Yeah.
women,
And gender
disability,
responsibility, yes,
gender, and it has to be inclusive.
Yes.
This is really an interesting solution in terms of policy at the local level. Now, I would like to go more to that, right?
Yeah.
In that draft regulation that you have,
Yeah.
what are the components in it? What are the
That's
what are the,
one
the parts
of
in it?
component is about, for example, gender action plan is one of.
So you incorporated gender action plan
gender
into
action
the
plan
regulation.
into the
Okay,
regulation,
right?
and that's how to mitigate. Disaster mitigation, what the indicator in
Right.
disaster mitigation, risk reduction in the for the governments,
Okay.
and maybe with the project by businessmen
Right, right.
to partner with the government.
Okay.
They must to make sure mitigation
Will be part of that
for-
project.
Yes.
Right. So I guess what we're saying here is that one is that the gender action plan
Yeah.
will be the basis and
Yes.
part of that draft regulation.
Yeah, that's
And number
right.
two, that it incorporate indicators
Yeah.
of mitigation and disaster risk reduction
Yeah.
to be adopted by the government
Yeah.
and be implemented by their business partners and
Yes,
others who
yes.
undertake
Yeah.
rehabilitation.
Yeah.
So this is really interesting initiative.
Thank you.
What other component in the draft regulation? So you
Yeah.
have the gender plan, you have the mitigation. What other
Yeah.
thing? What about the budgetary requirements?
I think maybe I still to sharing any ideas
Right.
anymore. But this point, we must to collect many participation
Sure.
by women, by disability person, by NGOs, by
And how do you do
academies.
that, Ibu Mutmainah? How do you gather those
I wanted
perspectives?
this collaboration for
Okay.
the
So
all
do you invite them to your
participation.
meetings? You have the
Yes,
hearing,
yeah,
pendapat,
regular
yeah?
meeting,
Okay.
hearings, and then maybe to visit it,
The locations, and the
location
groups.
to know more about,
Okay.
and hearing for the woman's voice there. Yeah,
So not only that you conduct a hearing in the Parliament House,
yeah,
but you also go out there
Yes.
and meet them
Yeah.
on the ground,
Yeah.
the women,
Yeah.
children,
Yeah.
disabilities, and so on. Now,
Yeah.
I have a question. This is the initiative from the parliament.
Yeah.
What has been the government's response to that proposed regulation? Are they receptive? Are they helpful? Or are they against it?
I just to hope maybe government is so agree.
Okay,
for
you hope they will agree.
Yes,
Okay.
because I think Palu after disaster situation there, I think this is very important for us.
It is. It is.
In the local regulation before, it is about the tata ruang.
It's the spatial
partial.
planning, spatial
That's,
planning. Yeah.
Many people the relocation.
Okay.
Relocation in the another area.
In other area, the safer areas.
Yes,
supposedly, yes.
that's why. And Palu is to begin from the zero, rebuilding. In the Palu
All right,
city.
right.
I
And you want to make sure that
I
you do not
wanna
rebuild.
local
Okay.
regulation. We have local regulation for to manage that rebuilding.
Okay. You want to make sure that people stay in the safe place and that the building are also safe.
Yeah, also safe too.
Okay.
And in the budgeting from the government, almost 20% for to rebuilding. That is
20% of government
and
budget
this
is
so
for rebuilding.
Yeah,
Okay,
that
okay.
this is it's very much budget for
Okay.
that. If government is not qualified and not responsibility for the people, for example, for the women, for the disability, for the
children, the
for
elderly,
yes. I just helpless
Okay.
if Palu will do conducive
Okay.
in the safety for the people in the next time.
So what you're
Yeah.
saying is that you want government to allocate 20% of the government
Yes.
budget
and then
to
not
the
local government too,
Yeah.
in the national
But also
government,
the national government.
in the support by
their partners.
the partners,
Okay.
by the business agency,
Yeah.
by the internal NGOs maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that 20% of the budget is
Yes.
allocated for rehabilitation and reconstruction and make
Yeah.
sure
Yeah.
that the vulnerable groups are protected
Yeah.
for the future
Yeah.
disasters.
Yes,
Very
the all
interesting.
support for the anywhere
Okay.
to rebuilding in the Palu city
Yep.
must to be in that by our local regulation.
All
for
right.
This, yeah.
So I think it's very, very important piece of local legislation, and we're really excited to see what happened to this draft regulation. Now, I understand, Ibu Mutmainah, that you at the same time are also women leader in Palu
Okay.
City, right?
Yes.
And you have an organization that's called Sikolah Mombine.
Yes, sir.
Could you quickly introduce what is Sikolah Mombine?
Sikolah
And
Mombine-
what does it do?
Sikolah Mombine is a women's institute.
Okay.
That's especially for the women to a leader for the many women there, and they have like a school for the women how to increase the capacity building for the how to give the some idea by experience self to induct in the government's value, I think so.
Okay.
But beside that, we must do many women in the central Sulawesi can to improve, can to be a leaders.
Okay.
But our dream, the social
Change for women to be leaders.
For the women
Okay.
leaders, yes,
So
something like
Sikolah Mombine in English, what does it mean?
Women Institute.
Okay, so Sikolah Mombine is a women institute that seek to empower women through sharing of experience
Yes.
and building of capacity.
Yes.
So they could become leaders.
Yes.
In their communities.
Yeah, every things, whatever you wanna.
Okay.
Not really like me in parliament, but maybe you wanna to be
You want to be a teacher, you want to be an entrepreneur.
nurse, maybe something.
Right.
But you are leaders.
Okay.
To social
So in
change.
whichever field the women get into, you want them to be leaders in that sector. If you're in the education, you must be a leader in
Yes.
education.
Yes.
If you're in the trade, you must be leader in trade.
Yes.
It's really
Yeah.
a good
social
goals.
movement. That's one
Social
of
movement.
our dream.
Okay,
Yes.
social movement for about women,
Yeah.
by
Whatever
women,
you wanna.
in whichever field.
Yeah.
Excellent. Now, my last question, Ibu
Yes,
Mutmainah.
okay.
You know, this is a global platform for
Okay.
disaster risk reduction.
Yes.
Very big meeting
Yeah.
that happened in Bali, where you are here with me.
Yeah.
If you are to have just 1 minute time
Okay.
to speak to the delegation
Okay.
from all over the world, what will you say?
I just wanna I wanna locally voice from the local government, from the local NGOs, from the local people there. The big forum to hear.
You
what
want
the
this big
hours-
forum to listen to
Yeah.
the voice of local
Yes.
leaders like yourself
Yes.
from the place that was hit
Yeah.
by the disaster
Yeah.
and by a woman at the
Yeah.
same time.
Yeah.
So if they're in front of you right now,
Yeah.
okay, and you have 1 minute to talk to them,
Yeah.
what will you say? Now you can speak to them through
Okay.
the camera.
For the delegate, for the GPDRRs, I just wanna if many women in the Palu city have to more give our the needed and then many supports from the many country that must be to collaborate with the local NGOs and the local government.
Okay, so essentially what you're saying, Ibu Mutmainah, is that the women of Palu city
Yeah.
who was hit by major disasters 2 years ago are
Okay.
ready to move forward.
Okay.
But to do that, they require collaborations
Yeah.
of NGOs, of
Yeah,
government, local, national,
local,
and global,
national, yeah.
right? But at the same time, you also have a lot of lessons, you have a lot of experience to
Yeah.
share with them.
Yeah.
So you would like to have that stage at a global platform for
Yeah.
you to tell that story,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we hope that that will happen. We'll probably try to find ways for you to speak there, but to be honest,
Yeah.
we have Rumah Resiliensi Indonesia,
Yeah.
right, which is very open to you.
Yeah. Thank you
And
very
then
much.
we wish you luck with the
Yeah.
global platform.
Yes.
And we thank you for your presence at the Rumah Resiliensi. Ibu Mutmainah, thank you very
Thank you
much.
very much too, and I'm so happy to sharing. Yeah.
The happiness is mine and ours.
Okay, thank
So
you.
colleagues, this is Puji Pujiono from Rumah Resiliensi Indonesia with Ibu Mutmainah Korona, member of the local parliament at the Palu city that is undergoing rehabilitation and reconstruction, and she created and initiated a local regulation that incorporate women, children and vulnerable groups inclusivity as part of it, and to make sure that the rebuilding of Palu city will be based on mitigation and disaster risk reduction. This is Puji Pujiono from Rumah Resiliensi. Thank you very much.